Alrighty everyone, welcome back. My name is TerminuS and today we're gonna take a look at Jujutsu Kaisen episode 8. It's the last one I have here on my PC. It's the last one and then we're gonna continue, but I had the time on my hands and thought I was in the mood for some Jujutsu Kaisen, so let's get into it. But before we get started, as always, keep in mind I do have a Discord, I do have a Patreon. If you do like my videos, subscribe to my channel, like the videos. It helps a lot, really, if you stay on and watch the videos and like them and subscribe to them. It's really good for the numbers and all of that, especially with small channels. It's a huge effect. So thank you to everybody who is doing that. Thank you also to everybody who's supporting me on the Patreon. That means the world to me, really, to see that people actually care about this, that people would be willing to support me on this and enjoy my content in general. That kind of just keeps me going, you know. And the more I get, technically, the more I can relegate to actually producing these videos and focusing my attention on this instead of any other side jobs that I'm currently doing, which I am. But yeah, thank you for that, and let's get into the pre-discussion. It's not going to be that long this time. We have a lot of animation going on. Yeah, thank you, NVIDIA. I'm cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, we have a lot of animation going on, so I do suspect we're not talking about a lot, but we do have that confrontation between oh god, okay, you know what, I'm gonna look that up. Alright, yeah, we're back. It's Gojo versus Jugo, and later on we see Hanami and Geto actually helping out, but these effects are really well done. Like, in typical MAPPA fashion, it doesn't look very traditional animation. It's a very new style of probably also very CG supported animation, but they're using it very well and in a very decent way, right? All of it looks crisp, it looks impactful, it looks really nice in the moments it's supposed to look nice. And I think that is one of the most important thing, right? That you actually sell it, right? That you deliver on this, on the visual spectacle and the fantasy of it, right? You manage to, while having your own style that looks very different from what we're used to in traditional animation, it's still really good looking, especially in comparison to many other shows that I've seen that is employing a heavy amount of CGI. And we do learn a lot about the capabilities of our fighters here and also about their personalities, right? We had that last time. I talked a lot about Jugo being very the embodiment of temperament, right? The embodiment of anger, of rage and all of that, and resentment maybe, all of these things that are in there. And it makes sense with the mission he has and his group of people have, him seeing himself as a pure being and having a lot of resentment against humans who are treating them like they are some kind of cancer, some kind of plague that needs to be driven out. But he's very arrogant in his belief that he is such a superior being. He takes a lot of glee in that. I do wonder if that is just part of... I mean, you can't just make a character out of a simple emotion, right? You have to give them a twist in order for them to be an interesting character, and as such, I do assume that there's little sprinkles and sparks in there that are not the base emotion that Jugo is supposed to represent here, that Jugo consists of. And like I said the last time, maybe he changes over time, right? Maybe cursed spirits actually take in more and more negative emotion as time goes on. That is a possibility as well. But yeah, all great effects here, all cool looking. We have a plethora of different techniques being used here, right? The heat waves, the energy waves, the color coding is very cool, from the fiery red and yellow to the purple energy related stuff, right? And later on with Gojo's skills that we'll be coming to, which is also very, very cool. And we're testing our strength, right? And he keeps annoying Jogo. He keeps constantly surprising him and showing him that he doesn't have even if he would have, he is definitely showing Jogo that he doesn't have a care in the world, supposedly, and that he makes him feel weak and small, and that is something that a person like Jogo is a being, obviously, it's not a human in that sense, but a person like Jogo isn't gonna be able to take, because it's humiliating to him, and it's scratching his pride, it's challenging his worldview, right? All of these things. And we do have that negative energy space, infinity, he says, right? The closer you get to him, the slower you get, which is infinite, right? At some point you're moving at a speed that is not measurable anymore, but you're, well, so slow that it's not measurable, right? But you're still moving. It just takes a lot of time for it to move. And I think that is a very cool concept that he shows him. He can immediately break because it's his technique. He has the control over all of that. And he gives him a lot of interesting, a lot of cool looking moves and impact shots, and he swirls him around, kicks him and all of that. It's a thrashing. He's getting a thrashing. And the techniques are really cool. We're just getting them teased in part, but look at this artwork, right? We do have the normal animated shot in the center, right? It's their normal art style, but it get like the fringes of it. It's like they're blotted out, right? Like done with, I don't know. It reminds me of a lot, like, it's not exactly Persona, but Persona employs something something similar, where it has this layers upon layers of different kind of things, and some of them seem like parchment or just paint drawn over something, but it looks so incredibly cool. Here it almost looks like you take a normal picture of something and you kind of just rip off the seams, right? You rip off the borders of it here and there, and that is kind of, I guess, representative in an artistic form of like him literally bending reality, right? And it turns and it twists and it looks really cool as that. Now obviously it's sped up here because I don't want to get the YouTube algorithm going crazy on that. But yeah, all of these shots are fucking amazing. It looks almost like it's not controlled, right? When Jogo does it, it's just swirling around and he's barely holding on to it. Okay, you know what? One thing I don't like, one of the most minuscule things I don't like about this entire episode that we've watched last time, and that is the eye shot. It's a little bit too cliche, okay? Like the laser eye, come on. You wouldn't have had to. It would have been enough if you've just let that shot speak for itself without that tacky effect onto it. But yeah, we talked about it a lot. Yuji is learning, and Gojo sees this as a learning opportunity. Fucking insane that he went all the way back to where Yuji was and took him and was like, alright, you come here, I'll show you this. Like within a couple of seconds. Why does he even need the car to drive him somewhere, right? Is it like just basic courtesy, or does he just not want to waste energy? I mean, that's okay, that I'll take that. But still, it's kind of meh, right? Yeah, a lot of stuff. There's still a lot of mysteries. We've seen so much about Gojo, and the interesting thing about him is that we've still just scratched the surface of the things that there are to know about him, and what the knowledge he has, the techniques he has, all of the know-how and the skill that he has acquired. And he explains to us a little bit, right? You can, like, if you have like the you're in an expanded domain of somebody else, then the attacks are guaranteed to hit you. The only thing you can do is just put your own attacks as like a counter force and try to make them cancel each other out, or maybe leave that thing. Or, which is what he's gonna do his own domain expansion, and this is the big reveal, right, where he pulls off his mask, and we do see that. I don't know why he has a mask on at all times. Maybe there's a thing about like him just unsettling people, right, that he's at that level, but or maybe it's just a stylistic choice and him just not wanting to draw attention to his eyes, but the mask would probably draw attention to them anyway. But it's very interesting how he just how his eyes are so beautiful when you actually reveal them, like, and yeah, amazing. Amazing presentation here, right? He's trying to stop it. He's like, nah, I'm gonna destroy you. But you know, he ain't got no chance here. Everything just stops. It's like like reality is breaking apart at the seams here, and you have obviously the amazing contrast, like with the white hair, especially also the white eyebrows and the blue eyes, which, yeah. And domain expansion is like an advanced technique, right? It's one of those, like, the first thing we've seen was Sukuna's, and now we've seen Jogo, and now Gojo shows us what's up, right? Infinite Void. And it's a cool image, such a fucking cool image, that there's just nothing, well, not nothingness, but, right? Space, basically. A black fucking hole. But yeah. And he's so pretty, But yeah, scary as fuck anyway. And he, that's one thing we learned last time, he can't show his face around the students, so there must be a reason for that, right? Theory crafting, let's go. Hanami saves Jogo, very nice of them. And Gojo actually says that he might be more scary than Jogo, which makes sense to me, right? Somebody who is an enchanter, if we go like by D&D language and everything, we do have that ability to actually just make somebody forget about their goals, right? Or lose the will to fight. That's something really scary if you actually need to defend yourself technically. But yeah, and then we kind of lead into this other person who, I don't even know, what was his name? Cloud Giant is the book. Anybody tell me if that's a real book, an interesting one, maybe some reference or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. He's kind of a little bit trolly on that one. But yeah. Mahito is his name. We have to reveal Mahito is the undead looking person called with the heterochromia. But yeah, cool things all around. Brazilian soccer. And that's about it, right? That's about the episode, and I think that's enough to talk about it either, right? We've looked at the animation last time. It was incredible. I made the speed course this time because yeah, I want to look at that again. Of course, it's really cool. It's really fun. And I do thoroughly enjoy it every time some peak animations actually coming on the screen. A cool episode, a very action-heavy episode. What I expect from this episode now is probably going to be a lot slower. We're probably, if we haven't finished the training arc, we might be doing more training. And if we have actually finished that part, right, and we kind of skip over the last part where we're reinforcing the techniques, right, because we've seen now what is possible and learned new things, and now we can apply them, right? I think from a narrative perspective, it makes the most sense for me that now we skip that last part of reinforcing that, because it's a repetitive thing that everybody has to do, right? If you're learning for a test or if you're practicing your craft, it's gonna be tedious, but it's gonna be worth it. But it's not very exciting to watch that or to read it. So what you do is skip over that little part after you've taught the audience new information about the world and about techniques and about everything that's possible. but you don't want to overwhelm them, so you don't want to keep piling on the information. So now it probably, I would assume, goes into a scenario of, okay, we're having the exchange event actually happening, and it slowly starts creeping up, and we're building up the stakes of what's happening there, right? Maybe meeting a few new people from other schools or the senpais, right? We've heard about, I mean, although the third years are supposedly suspended or something, right? So maybe that is the excuse, so we don't have to meet them right now. So at some point later in the season, or maybe in season 2, we're actually gonna meet them, and then it's gonna be really cool. But for now, we're expanding the world, right? After we've expanded the lore and the general mechanics of the world, now we're expanding the environment again, and maybe who knows, we'll even have a tease of Itadori showing himself again after everybody believed he's dead, and but that might also just be in episode 9, so don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see. It's gonna be cool either way. So let's get into it. I don't know why I snap my fingers every time, but you know, you guys are all not gonna see it all that often. Sometimes I might leave it in just to troll myself, but you know. Okay, everybody, Jujutsu Kaisen episode 8 starts in a 3, a 2, a 1. Alright, we start up here again. Aren't those enough? Bro. It starts. Oh, okay, this is gonna be interesting. I wonder if that's the bearded old man. They're involved in the politics. Mai. Ooh, who is Mai? Oh. Okay. She's flirty immediately. No, they're testing them. Poking and prodding. Oh, she likes provoking people. A little bit of big shoes to fill, aren't it? Oh, he's one of those. He's the man's man. Alright. Alright, he's an ass man. Okay. Fair enough. Let's see what Megumi has to say to this. I can't. Alright. That was a tone setter. If anybody has recommendations, by the way, for subtitle like fan subs or something that do have the lyrics of the opening and the ED, I would very much appreciate that. I always like to read the the lyrics after a while. I mean, I don't know if the lyrics switch in the middle because this is a 24 episode thing. So if that's the case, maybe we'll just do it once the new opening comes in and we can look back at the old opening. Oh, and she's stabbing in the back. Alright, just Todo. Alright, if you say so. I feel you, man. Let your soul burn. Alright, and he's gonna graduate, okay. Oh, okay, he's not graduating. Alright. Okay, now we actually have somewhat of a confirmation on that. I mean, it might still be his mother, right? But it's very unlikely. Okay, that's a diplomatic answer. You're boring. He's gonna say it. Of course he's gonna say it. Of course he's gonna say it. Maybe all of this was an excuse, 𝐿𝐿𝐏, to just test him. Oh, she's spitting poison. Oh, come on. Guns? This is not fair. Alright, nutjob. Ooh, so he met Goto. Wow, okay, so he has a reputation. Not bad. Ooh. Okay, interesting. Oh, and we have a fight. Okay, cool. Frog army, let's go. Oof. Oof. My guy is struggling here. Ooh, I like that shot. Oh, holy shit. Always, you just got to know him. I agree, he's boring, but you know. I think it's just because he isn't opening up. Ooh. Ooh. He can actually talk? Alright, saved by the bell. You ripped it. Oh god. Oh yeah, the fourth second year. Alright, fair enough. Oof. Oh, she's gonna get one over by Mai. Oh, she has no cursed energy at all. Interesting. Hmm. He's someone. Oh, Team Rocket blasting off again, I see. Interesting. How does that work? Oh, this is because, yeah, okay, the classes in the intro. She's like Yuji. She's like Yuji. Yeah, how more like? Alright, prove them wrong. And this is, of course, Nobara likes that. Of course, Nobara would like that. I can. I respect her too, though. It's great. I do love like the environmental design they have going. And this is one of the elders, and she is an attendant of the elder. Okay. Ooh. Wonder what he has to say. No, not in such a situation. Okay. Of course he does have fangirls. Alright. 𝐏𝐢𝐏𝐿, okay. So they know him. Something's happening. He says this is all your fault. A friendly talk, huh?
夜間学長は2時間くらいで来るよ。じゃあねー。2時間？
ミワ、茶を買うてきてくれ。
Miwa, okay.
失礼します。追いつけたら一緒に写真撮ってもらおう。
Holy shit. And he actually went. Alright, so we have a short time skip. Kinema Cinema, okay. Cool. Cool name. Who might you be? The fuck? Alright, I mean curses probably. Ooh, okay. Cranial pressure, huh? Alright. Ooh, I've seen you before. Oh, and he's a curse. Oh, it's the one right next to Yuji, right? In the intro. Oh, and we meet this guy now. That's cool too. I wonder if he's like a senior or something, right? Ah, oh, damn it. Alright. Alright, we'll see when 9 is gonna come out, okay? I don't know if I have the time for it, but we'll get to it when we get to it. But it looks like Yuji is now taking on his own missions, right? Probably Goto setting him up a regimen or something of doing his own stuff. It's gonna be very interesting because he's gonna learn a lot in the process of that. And Jujutsu Kaisen. She got her photo. Alright, nice. She forgot the tea. Mm-hmm. She's a fan now. Small fry and reverse retribution. Okay. Interesting. I'll see you back on YouTube. Alright. We're back. Let's talk about it. Episode 8 was very interesting, very amusing. A lot of comedy in here, but also a couple of key moments that I found very interesting in terms of character development and getting to know people that we've just met better, and also maybe even the people we've met before, Fushiguro and Nobara, which is interesting. But we start over here, and Nobara's like, why aren't there more vending machines? And I'm like, what? Are you crazy? No, but yeah, they're sending them on errands, right? Getting beverages in between training session, probably, or whatever. And they're kind of worried about the big ones coming, right? The elders, or rather the principal who is part of the elders, or even like the chief elder kind of person. And they're like, well, if they're coming, students aren't required to come, but I think it's possible that Mai and I don't know his name, right? I mean, I know his name, I heard his name, but I haven't retained it yet. That they're showing up, and they seem to be kind of low-key a little bit bullying them, or at least heavily annoying them, right? There's some strong rivalry going on between the actual theoretically senpais who are supposed to be more responsible, and the second and in this case now the first class people. It's almost like a hazing that's going on here. But I can't quite make out their objective in this specific case. Is it just to feel them kind of out and get something of like their own amusement out of all of that, or is there more to it? She looks actually pretty sharp and clever to me. Like, first of all, she's really hot. She reminds me a little bit of Fubuki from One Punch Man, but more on the sadistic side, more on the like I don't know, more the reptilian side almost. The way she's drawn and everything, it's more like hostile. But yeah, they make the acquaintance, and he wants to check out if they're living up to Okot's senpai, who is a third year and supposedly one of the strongest, according to what we heard a couple of episodes ago, according to Gojo. So obviously they're not gonna measure up to him. But yeah, and they're feeling him kind of out. They're being really cruel here, poking, especially she, like Mai, is very poking and prodding and trying to get under their skin by referring to Yuji, who just died. I think it's almost cruel, though I don't know if it's coming from a place of actually thinking it's the case that if she was in that situation, she'd find somebody who is almost a monster, creepy as hell, as like a partner or a classmate, and would be really relieved if they died, or if this is actually her just being very, very sadistic. Maybe it's both of that, right? Her being just very, very mean, letting out her aggressions, or maybe it's the influence of the elders, that the third years, especially from the other schools and whatnot, that they've been kind of, I don't know how it works. Maybe you're going to the third year, you're actually going to the other school or something, but I don't think that's the case, right? Every school has their third years, so they are actually the opposite school third years. So it's very interesting to see that they might have some influence that is not Gojo, right? And Gojo having potential positive influence, or finding people who are very much in line with his ideals, while the elders raise their people to be in line with what they're thinking, and kind of maybe we do have some low-key brainwashing going on in terms of not actual brainwashing, but when it comes to mentality, right? Teaching people the wrong values, or yeah, or just passing things along. You see that often when you have divorces and split parents and whatnot, where you do have one parent actually trying to talk badly about the other parent if the divorce went really, really badly, and then they're trying to kind of just make the kids believe that the other parent is terrible, which is, right, And something like this kind of comes into my mind when I see it right here, but it could obviously also just be a matter of choice, right? Growing up, for example, many of us, as we grow up, as we are teenagers and whatnot, we interact more and more with our peers, and the peers we interact the most with are the ones we seek out, right? The ones that are close to our worldviews, philosophies, interests and hobbies and all of that. And that shapes who we are. And in return, right, our peers shape us, and our teachers shape us to a degree if they can inspire us. And I think in this case that it makes perfect sense that they would maybe take on some of the mentality of the elder here. But he is somebody. He is definitely one jujutsu sorcerer of all time. With his questions about the taste in women and trying to judge if Fushiguro is actually boring and whatnot. And Nobara's just stabbing him in the back, just like, yeah, that antisocial dude, come on, take it easy. don't oversaturate him. He can't do more than that. And he's like, you're not helping, Nobara. I don't need these fucking stray bullets coming my way. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, interesting that he judges people based on their taste in women, if he's being serious here. And he's also like saying the exchange event is accelerating for him, right? And I can imagine that somebody who is very young and looking for blood, right? Somebody who likes to fight and likes the exhilaration of battle would of course be very much interested in a tournament event where people can actually measure themselves against one another and see who is the best one, and actually getting challenged, right? Because you do have to fight against people who are on your eye level technically, or at least in the same class as you. That might be one thing that he's actually peeved about, that the third years of this school are actually not fighting in a tournament, and then they have to make do with the second and first years, and they're like kind of a little bit feeling resentment, not directly towards the first years, but they're redirecting it towards them just because there's no other outlet for that. That could be the case, but I don't know. I feel like there must be more to them just doing that. Obviously, rivalry probably plays into that as well. We've seen that later on with Maki and... oh god, I don't know. We'll see what kind of name we're coming up with. No, it's Maki and Mei, right? Or is it... I don't even know. Let me actually... I like how Nobara is like, she's like, is this your summer uniform? Kind of ticks me off, but I like it. And he's thinking of her when he's being asked about his ideal woman, which is very interesting because it immediately tells us something that we didn't know before, that we weren't sure on before, which is that this was probably most 90%, because obviously in those remaining 10% there can still be something like it was his mother, and he kind of measures people, potential romantic partners, based on what his mother was like. But most likely it wasn't his mother, it was a colleague of his. He referred earlier to like when Nobara asked him if this was the first time a partner of him died, and he was like, first time one my age died. I wonder if this means like she was his partner, but she was like a senior of his, and this is what kind of shaped him as a young trainee and all of that. So yeah, she definitely is more in the romantic partner kind of category. We know that now. We can somewhat safely say that. And we do have all of these jokes, but we also see the sheer force that there, and I do wonder if part of this confrontation was just him trying to get a fight and see how the first years are doing. The same for her, although she's more like snake-like, like I said, she's more mean, right, and backstabbing almost. She hurts more with words than she does with actual with actual with her fist, with physicality, but that makes sense when we learn later on that all she can do is actually infuse objects with cursed energy and make them work. In that case, she's almost very similar to Nobara, I feel like, because she does that too with the nails and whatnot, but there might be a difference, and we might be able to find that out at some point. Todo, that's how he's called. And yeah, Maki is the other Zenin. Yeah, and she has a gun. How about gun? Jujutsu terror attack caused by the curse user 𝐏𝐢𝐏𝐏. So 𝐏𝐏𝐏 is a curse user, okay? He's not an actual Jujutsu source. He's a curse user, most probably like Sukuna was back in the day, right? And he like Todo has actual rap behind his deal. He's actually very talented, and he seems to be using cursed techniques against special grades, but against nothing else, which is very interesting. Probably gonna come up later when he uses it against somebody who is going up against, and then we're like, hey, he uses cursed technique? He normally just does that for special grades. Yeah, right. And you know, the kind of story beat story. Can we give Megumi can we give him a fucking break? Right? Holy shit, bro's just been out of the hospital 2 times, and now he's getting fucking wrecked again. He can't catch a break right now, right? I mean, I'm always like, I feel like in my mind I'm always kind of low-key dunking on him because he's so negative, but can you blame him with all of the shit that's happening to him right here? Yeah, and here he was about to use his real shit, and Togo was getting excited, but Panda and Bonito Flakes here interrupted it. I find it very cool that he can actually talk right here. He opens up and he's like, don't move. Apparently, he probably only doesn't talk normally because him talking would potentially just immobilize people or something like that. So very, very interesting. I mean, it could still be a mistranslation on the subtitles, but the way it sounded to me, it's not. So very interesting that he can actually talk, but I wonder why he can only talk in cursed techniques and why otherwise he has to talk. But maybe it's just a comedic gimmick. I don't know. I mean, the way I know it, most authors, especially authors who are very good, and so far I feel like the series is very well built, are gonna use that as a joke a couple of times, and later down the line suddenly we get to know that there's a specific reason why this is the case, and we're like, holy shit, who knew, right? And that's right. That's also an ability of a writer, of an author, to actually put more depth into the characters along as you go along, turning jokes into actual lore, right? And that is a cool thing in my opinion. I'm looking forward to actually having that possibly be the case. And Okotsu is actually one of the second years, right? It's the one that we haven't met yet, which is going to be interesting because they're kind of hyping him up low-key. She is devious. Oh yeah, she's Mai and she's Maki. Okay, this is very hard to keep apart, but yeah, now I got it. Maki and Mai. And she can't use curse energy at all. She basically just she's like Yuji would be if he didn't have Sukuna, which is very interesting. And Nobara is, gotta be careful around Nobara because she doesn't forget, right? She's gonna carry a grudge and she's gonna act upon it. You be sure of that. And this I can't, okay? Like he is quirky as fuck. Look at those faces. But yeah, she's still going with him, so she trusts her partner or likes her partner a lot, right? And they have a talk with one another, and it's really nice because we get to know a little bit more about Senin, right? About not the other Senin, but Maki. And Maki actually can't even see curses without those special glasses, which interesting who made the glasses. But other than that, it's also really cool because it's in the intro, and it's cool because we kind of get to know this from the perspective of somebody who's somewhat of an outsider, but still kind of fights their way into the ranks of those people. And it's really impressive because people seem to be looking up to Maki here, and she's paving her own path, right? She says, screw the rules, I'm gonna do it anyway, and she's strong enough to actually do that. And maybe once we find out more about her and her origins and why she's actually so strong and so good at what she's doing, despite the fact that she can't use any cursed energy at all, supposedly, I do wonder if we kind of can just guess upon what Yuji might have had in terms of abilities before he and Sukuna got together, before all of this shit happened, because he definitely was out of the ordinary. And she says, like, her family's been looking down upon her all her life, so she wants to stick it to them, which I knew that Nobara would immediately like that, because it kind of shines through. I don't even know her name anymore, right? The girl that Nobara was really fond of in their hometown. I'm probably gonna be able to think of it again, but her story was kind of similar, right? People looking down upon her, people discriminating against her. But what Nobara has kind of developed in reaction to all of this, at least passively experienced trauma, right? All of this injustice that she has witnessed, is that she has actually become a person who likes to go against the odds, right? Who likes to stick it to people who tell her she can't do it. At least that's the vibe I'm getting from her. Who likes to just be a commanding presence in the room, especially if people don't believe in her. And that immediately creates a bond here between Nobara and Maki. And she says, I respect you, which is very nice. And you do have that very nice moment where she's leaning against her, looking up to her and whatnot. And that is an amazing thing, right? If you have somebody who's a living role model in your life, or if you have somebody who's looking up to you, that can encourage you, that can make you stronger, that can give you a lot of energy and motivation to keep doing what you're doing, because you feel like you have people that believe in you, right? People that look up to you, people that you don't want to disappoint. Obviously, that pressure can also be something very heavy on you, but it can be something of a driving force as well in your life, and I do really like that. And then we have this, in the second part, we do have this elder here. I don't even know how his name was, but we do have this elder here, and Gojo just coming in being like, Principal Yaga won't be here for a time. I'll just fucking... I'm gonna talk to you, and I'm gonna tell you what for. Right? And he does, right? He's like, I ain't buying your shit. You pissed me off. I'll just want to let you know, and not everybody's gonna play to your tune. And he's like, you're being awfully rude to somebody, right? These young people, they lack respect. But I find it very interesting, because I think everybody that watches this has been in this situation before, where you have been talking to people who are older than you, and normally maybe they are relatively clever or wise, or they have things to teach you, but in that situation you do know you're right, and you do know they're talking out of close-mindedness, or they're being very stubborn in their own ways, and you're telling them that, right? You're like, I ain't taking shit from you, and then what you get back is, show more respect because I'm older than you. You have that a lot in Asian countries as well. I do think it is a very useful thing that we respect our elders, right? We can learn a lot from them, from their life's experience, what to do and what not to do. We can profit from that, and we can definitely also look up to all the struggle and all the work they went through over their lifetime. But at the same time, I do feel like this isn't a blank card that people can just play because they're older than you. That is a thing that has to be earned. That's a thing that has to be founded in something, and just using that in any moment where you do feel like you're being disrespected, maybe you're being disrespected for a reason, right? And even though I do like to be on the side of respect, respecting one another, accepting one another's subjective realities, I think that's a very big part of what psychology is about, right? Understanding that everybody has their own subjective reality, and for them, this very situation they're in might be the right thing, might be their way to view things, might be the right way to view things, based on all of their experiences and what they think and feel in that very moment. But it doesn't give you the right to just lord that over people. And I like that Gojo is kind of a rebel, right? He is kind of the person who's like, yeah, if you're doing shit, right? If you're bullshitting me, I'm gonna call you out for it. And she's like, I'll be reporting it. And you're like, oh, well, he's really here. She's like fangirling over him, which is super funny. It's kind of like, it's breaking the tension, but in a good way, I feel. Because we kind of low-key reset the tension a little bit, and then we continue on. This way you don't have a continuous rise of tension, but you have little small breaks, and then it rises again. But yeah, he's saying like, a lot of the stuff you're afraid of, it's gonna happen. You've been holding that back for a long time, but the dam is gonna break, and you're gonna be overwhelmed, and you're gonna be in deep shit, and you're gonna wish you would have listened more to me. Which, honestly, I can see his side of things, right? He has also said the level of students has risen, right? That they're better now, and we do have dangerous opponents that we don't know enough about. Yeah. Your house of cards, it's gonna break down, right? It's gonna crumble at some point. The coming age with the classification of special grade. So it's gonna be a special grade age, a very, very tumultuous age, a very dangerous age. You're like, I think you're getting out of line. He's like, whatever. I said what I came here to say. See ya. You're like, by the way, fuck you. Principal's gonna be here in 2 hours. Enjoy the wait. Yeah, and she's running for the autograph, and we have some couple of really, really goofy and fun moments with that. And we do see the preview, the little preview of what Yuji's gonna about to face in the next episode or episodes. A black cat, very funny. And him being a curse, apparently. I mean, I should have known, but, right? Walking, him being like, was that you in the theater? So he is somebody who can see curses. Either somebody who is already a Jujutsu or somebody who's new to the job, right? There might be another person who is joining them, right? Another first year, potentially. Because we saw him in the intro very close to Yuji and them being really friendly to one another. So I do wonder if that's the case. Or if it's just the case that they're so close to one another because they are gonna become close in the next couple of episodes when they actually meet on that case. And we're gonna meet our... Oh, I love that, right? That shot here, right? Well, let me see. I'm gonna let that run for a second. This one, right? We're slowly turning the camera. It's such a cool shot. And we're kind of playing with the depth of shot, which is also really, really cool. And parts of that is CG, right? We do have the CG air cooling unit on the side here, and it's a super cool classic Mappa shot in my opinion. And we're gonna meet this guy, which I'm very curious about, especially with the tie and the weird glasses and whatnot. He might be a very eccentric, fun character to meet. After that, we have the autograph. She forgot the T. Obviously, she did. And she's actually going for the event. and she's enjoying it, right? She might be a new fan. She's like, oh, this was okay. But yeah, really, really cool episode. Looking forward to the next one. It's gonna be a very interesting one, as always, right? So far I haven't been disappointed. I think like the third episode was kind of low-key not that interesting, but it's normal, right? This is a slow pace, kind of slow burn start on all of that, and oftentimes you have seen all of these plot elements before. That's also an aspect one has to consider. If you've seen shonen before and you've seen a couple of them, at some point you're gonna be like, okay, I know this trope, this is probably gonna go like this, and that's gonna be the case for the first couple of episodes. But once the ball gets actually rolling and the thing is done well, once that's the case, it's actually really good, and I enjoy it thoroughly so far. I don't know if it's the best shonen of recent times. Some people have told me that, but honestly, I'll judge it on its own merit, and it's really enjoyable. It has a lot of cool elements. It has very little that I actually need to or want to criticize. There's a couple of things, but most of those are subjective. Most of these things are not like bad quality or bad writing. They're most often just me being like, I don't like that as much. But right, it's still cool. Yeah, I don't know when episode 9 is gonna come out, but I'll be seeing you on the next reaction of Jujutsu Kaisen. To wrap this up, I do have a Discord. I would really love for you to join me. It's in the description down below or on my About page on YouTube. You can check that out. Check out the Patreon, see if there's something you like, or if you just want to support me, I'd appreciate that as well. We have polls occasionally too, right? With, for example, for Made in Abyss, which is going to be replaced soon, and for 𝐏𝐲𝐿, which is going to end soon, which we're going to see what we're going to watch after that. Yeah. Check out all of that. Give me a like, subscribe to the channel if you like it, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks to all my Patreons, by the way.